Welcome back to the channel. It's a wintry day out there right now here in Barrie. Hopefully you're able to stay warm. And since it's Tuesday, why don't we take a look at some of the news items impacting the Ontario Hockey League? We're going to start things off with the CHL Top 10. It's a great way to get some conversations going with junior hockey fans. And we do have a new team taking over the top spot in the CHL Top 10 ranking. It's the Prince George Cougars from the WHL, taking that spot away from the Halifax Mooseheads, who fell to number 3. So it's always neat to see what team will take top spot. The Cougars right now, winners of 8 of their last 10 games and getting things done in the Western Hockey League. Now from the OHL, we do have 3 teams making it this week. Starting off with the Kitchener Rangers, so the highest ranked team from the OHL, coming in at the 4th spot in the country. They went 1-2 last week, but they had some tough losses to Owen Sound and Guelph, who were pretty hot at the time, and then they defeated the Flint Firebirds. So Kitchener getting back in the win column to end the week. They're still first place in the OHL. They have the most goals for. They have Carson Rakoff, who's leading in goals and points. So this is a really good Kitchener Rangers team, and that's why they're still number 4 in the country. Also making the cut, it's the Saginaw Spirit, back for the first time since the month of October. The Saginaw Spirit coming in at number 8, and they are riding a franchise-best 10-game winning streak. I did a video yesterday talking about that winning streak, so you can always check that one out. Just doing a deep dive into how the Saginaw Spirit are doing and what to expect going forward. But for Saginaw, they were 9th at the start of the 10-game winning streak, now sitting 4th, just 3 points back of the Sioux Greyhounds for top spot in the West Division. So Saginaw really pouring it on, and they have some big games coming up this week against the Sioux Greyhounds, which could decide how that West Division is going to look from a week from now. And speaking of the Sioux Greyhounds, they also are back on the CHL Top 10 rankings. They're number 9, and they're second, of course, in goals for in the OHL behind the Kitchener Rangers, and also second overall in the OHL behind Kitchener. So the Sioux Greyhounds, a really solid team from the West Division. Great to see the Northern Ontario squad represented. But as I mentioned, some key games to look forward to between Saginaw and Sault Ste. Marie this week. It's a home-and-home starting at the Dow Events Center in Saginaw before they head up to GFL Memorial Gardens in Sault Ste. Marie. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens between those two teams. Now let's swing back to the Halifax Mooseheads. I know they're a Quebec Major Junior Hockey League team, but they picked up a former Sudbury Wolf player. This news broke heading into the weekend. Ethan Larmand, he was let go by the Sudbury Wolves because of their overager situation. You're only allowed to play 3 OAs at a time, so they trimmed that number down. Larmand, a solid player for the Sudbury Wolves. He's a Midland, Ontario native, and every time Sudbury played the Barrie Colts, you would always see Larmand out there throwing a big hit, creating some scoring opportunities on the forecheck. So he's going to be a good pickup for the Halifax Mooseheads, who are already a top team in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. So I think he's going to like his time out east. In his career with the Sudbury Wolves, he appeared in 169 games, registering 62 points. And since joining Halifax, he's already played in 3 games and has registered 1 assist. So all the best to Ethan Larmand as he gets used to the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Now, this news broke last night. Some news in regards to the Peterborough Petes. City Council, they voted in favor of having their consultants explore options for a new downtown arena. So they're going to be looking at different properties downtown. They want the replacement of the Peterborough Memorial Center in that downtown core. They had a couple of sites picked out when they started the idea of a new arena back in 2018. They also wanted to look at Morrow Park, but right now Morrow Park, which is across the street from the current PMC, it's being used to build a new twin pad arena. So the preferred site, not an option now. So the consultants being paid $65,000. They'll be looking at a site downtown. And, the PMC, it is one of the classic barns in the OHL. It was built in 1956, but it only has enough seats for 3,700 for a Peterborough Petes game. And then with the standing room, you can get up to 4,000. If you have not yet been to the Peterborough Memorial Center, highly recommend it. It's one of those great stops as an Ontario Hockey League fan. It's a very unique rink with the square corners. It's fascinating how it works because the Zamboni, when they're going around, they can't get in the corners. So they have a crew that will sweep the snow from the game and try and clear it that way. And it's also neat because they're only one of two teams in the OHL where the benches are across from each other. The only other rink that's uh, an option is with the Sudbury Community Arena, and that's another arena right now that might be replaced in the coming years. But we're talking about the Petes. Also, when you go to the PMC, they've got a real cool sports hall of fame. All the sports history for the city of Peterborough on full display, from jerseys to equipment to plaques. Really cool to see if you ever get down there. And the other thing that stands out about the arena is when you're at the game, on the sides of the ice, they only have 10 rows of seats. So behind the benches in the penalty box. And then you go to the far end, and the seats just shoot right out over Lansdowne Street. That's where the bulk of the fans sit. And at the other end is your restaurant and club seats. And it's just a wall at the end. And you can't actually walk all the way around the ice without going through the restaurant section. So it's a really weirdly set up arena. It's gone through a few renovations. And the story I was told, the renovations that happened maybe 20 years ago, they didn't include a press area, so no media box. So when you go there as the visiting radio crew, you're actually in a small box at the top of the seating area, and it's well inside the blue line, which for a broadcast perspective, it's okay. It's different. You're really close to the one end of the ice. I believe the Meridian Center is also like that from the Niagara Ice Dogs in St. Catharines, where the press box is inside the blue line. So you're basically calling the game from the corner and then having to see the play down the ice. It's different for a broadcast perspective, but still, it's just the quirks and the characteristics of the PMC. And I hope when they do build a new arena that it still has that unique charm. Because I think we're missing that with some of the newer buildings when you look at the Sleeman Center and how similar it is to the Progressive Auto Center in Sarnia. Those two, you could be blindfolded and still find your way around the rink. Even the arena in Sault Ste. Marie, very similar to the rinks in Guelph and Sarnia. So I kind of hope that when they do build a new arena in Peterborough, that they still have something that's unique, that lets you know that you're in Peterborough. You're in the Lift Lock City. The fans there are amazing. It's a community-based team. So they do, I think it is time that the Peterborough Petes and the fans there get a new arena. Mind you, it's not going to be cheap. It will be expensive. You're looking at over $100 million to build a new arena. And plus, they still have to figure out the land. So I think it's going to be a few more years before we find out when the shovels will be on the ground for a potential new arena, because the renovations, you're looking at $140 million to renovate the PMC to bring it up to OHL standards and for bringing in big concerts. So something has to be done in Peterborough, and I think the future of the Petes, I don't want to say depends on it, but you kind of get that sense that the Petes, they do need an upgrade because it's served its purpose. I hate to see an arena like that go off the Junior Hockey League circuit, but still, news to follow out of Peterborough. Some other news involving some former Barrie Colts, starting off with Cooper Matthews. He was let go by the Barrie Colts a couple weeks ago, and he is signed with the Ontario Junior Hockey League, so Tier 2, with the Trenton Golden Hawks. So it's good to see that Cooper Matthews will be getting some ice time at the Tier 2 level. He's already appeared in 2 games so far with Trenton and registered 1 assist, so he's fitting in nicely there with the Golden Hawks. And news I've been following, Tyler Savard. He was traded to the Kingston Frontenacs at the beginning of the season, and he last played on November 11th when the Sarnia Sting were in town. And since then, he's been a healthy scratch. He's not been mentioned on the roster. So his name finally taken off the official roster for the Kingston Frontenacs, which is really too bad because for Tyler Savard, he's an overage forward. He appeared in 17 games this season with Kingston, a goal, 7 assists, good for 8 points. He brings that sandpaper, and I know for him, he's got that reputation though of taking penalties, and I think because of that reputation with the referees, they typically see him in the middle of the scrum, and he might not even do anything. We saw this in the playoffs last year against Hamilton and North Bay, where he would just be in the scrum, and the officials would take him out and give him a penalty to go along with the other player on the opposing team, which is really hard because that kind of puts your team back. Like, you don't want to be shorthanded all the time. You don't want that flow to be thrown off during a game. So I hope Tyler Savard is able to find a new home in the Ontario Hockey League. I've not yet heard where he has gone, but still, all the best to Tyler Savard because you do need those character players on your lineup. And that's why the Barrie Colts picked him up from Sault Ste. Marie at the OHL trade deadline last year. He played 13 games in the playoffs and had 13 points. So he really contributed well with the Barrie Colts in the postseason run. It was just those penalties, and you could just tell that it was frustrating the coaching staff because you don't want to be giving the opposing team a chance on the man advantage, and that would happen quite a bit. But I think that comes down to the reputation with the officials. So let me know your thoughts on any of these news items from the CHL Top 10, the arena update with the Peterborough Petes, or even your thoughts on the situation with the Kingston Frontenacs involving Tyler Savard. Would love to see the comments down below. Thank you for all your support so far. It means a lot just having the views, the likes, and even those hitting the subscribe button as this channel continues to grow. So we will talk to you again soon. Remember to hit like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day.